Hey man, what's up everybody, man? It's your boy T Rich, man. I'm back, man. The first thing I want to do is get into the importance of this conversation as a black man and as a person that's trying to create generational wealth, and I want to talk about the cycles that we're breaking, particularly in the black culture, dealing with gang culture, man. So at the table right now, I got my partner right here, man. I'm going to let him introduce himself. He's a great dude, dope fella, across the track, great, and I think all y'all need to meet him, man. So what's up? Tell people your name, man, where you out of.
My name is Kenneth. But the streets know me as Graves. I'm 456. My mama named me Kenneth. My homeboy called me Kenny. And been in the game for a minute. I realize it's bull stuff, so it don't really lead you nowhere at the end of the day. And as a black man, it's all about really unifying and sticking together, because at the end of the day, all we got is us. It's us versus everybody. If you look at the climate of the world and you see what's going on, they don't want us to have nothing. So our job is black men, members, former members, gang members, whatever, leaders of our community. Our job is to change the narrative, because the narrative that we grew up with was kind of like bullshit, and we was idolized under a false concept. It was false. It was fake. It wasn't built on nothing. So our job is to change the narrative and really build about financial freedom, so we don't gotta work for these people, work on these slave plantations and struggle all our life and run the rat race, you know what I'm saying? And we wanna live free, you know what I'm saying, with our own options. If we wanna work, that's an option, but if we don't want to, if we wanna sit back and chill, or we wanna go to do a non-profit in Africa or wherever we at, right here in South Central, right here in Watts, wherever we at, we can do it. So that's what we're trying to do.
And it's important, right, that I'm bringing this to y'all, right? And the first thing that I want to touch on, this is about financial. But of course, we want backstory, right? And have the importance of a dude coming from Crenshaw District, you know what I'm saying, dealing with a Piru. That's important. Because at one point in time, we were taught to hate each other, right? So there's some things that happened to me that make me don't hate Piru, the blood, or who was. There's some people that affected me with good energy, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure there's some people that affected him with good energy. And I don't want to pay it forward. Even though I haven't ran into them dudes in a long time, right, this helped me, right, become comfortable with talking to people that talk different than I talk, maybe act a little different than when I have. Because a lot of what we do is it resembles, but it's not the same. It just resembles. And sometimes we got to break the stigmas that they put against us, that it's us against us. Now, we can be for each other, but they need to have examples of what that is. So us sitting across the table, we're giving you an example of what that looks like, man. So I want to say shout out to, all the Kiwis and Damos, the blacks out there, man, that put their life on the line, man, to help us get past the certain circumstances where we're trying to kill each other and how we can financially be better, man. We at this table, and it's important. This is one of our first interviews. It's important because me and my boy right here, we got into the stock market. And there's a backstory to it, but I just want to give you guys to the stock market. And when I say making a change, when I'm talking about capitalizing and using the current events and common sense and the calculations and using that to our benefit, to where our lives are different than what most people live. 90% of the population, this part of our life is better than. Our family's lives are probably better than. And it all came from diving into some information that they said wasn't for us. And we realized that it was for us. We just have to apply ourselves and learn and interpret and apply the knowledge. So when we going forward, you know what I'm saying, that's my partner. Whoever's his partner is my partner, man, and we come in here, man, and hopefully, when we get down the line, we're going to give you stock tips along the way so you can see it happen. The stock things that we do, we also going to have it and be able to post receipts so you can see what we do. So moving forward, this is what the communication is about, the areas that we come from, the importance of having a conversation. But I'm going to get into that with my brother down actually, man. So, what made you start getting into stocks?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Me personally, I always heard about the stock market growing up, but in my household, we didn't. Basically, I'm gonna say this right: the black community, my family was scared of the stock market because they was like, "Oh, it's risky. That's all. Or you'll lose your money. Oh, you'll lose everything." And so I was kind of like, I had a negative outlook on the stock market. So, but I always was into like hustling. So, because hustling's universal.
Right.
It just depends on what you're hustling.
Right.
So, basically I'm in prison, and when I'm in prison, you know, when you first come to prison, I'm 5'0", 4'5", whatever, and I'm antisocial. I'm antisocial, and I'm not talking to no Chris. I'm not talking to no Keyway. I'm only talking to. It's like you stick to who you familiar with. You stick to if you in an unknown environment. These are homies. I'm running with them, and that's kind of how it was. But I had a neighbor, and my neighbor, he was from the east side. His name was Tato. 9 trade hustlers, 9-7 hustlers, some on the east side, right? And he had been down for like 11 years. I only been down like 3 years. And he would laugh at me like, you antisocial? He's like, well, and he just kept messing with me. So one morning we started talking. Yeah, I would always notice he was always, the words he used was different. He didn't talk like everybody else in the yard. When he talked, like, I'm like, what did he say? I'm looking it up, what he's saying. Like, this nigga different. So, I'm like, hey, what you reading, bro? One day, he's like, I'll be reading stuff on stocks. I'm like, what stocks? And he kind of run it down a little bit, and he give me a little bit of information. But he was the one that opened my mind to even think about, okay. And I'm like, how we gonna do that? We in jail. He's like, it's ways. So he was the first one to make me like, you know what? It was a keyway. You get what I'm saying? A keyway was, he changed the whole trajectory of my life, and you don't even know it. Because I gave up hustling, everything. I gave up dealing dope, everything. Whatever, anything illicit, I gave it up. So it just changed my life. So I'm indebted to him, and he don't even know it. So with that being said, though, it was a keyway in prison that told me about stocks, and I just kept searching and kind of stayed disciplined, and it's where I'm at now with it.
Well, and it's crazy you say that because, you know, even when you're dealing with stocks and getting there, so when I look at my life and I have a conversation, it's easy for me to not use the N-word.
Right.
Why? Because it was a dude named Norm from Bounty Hunter. He was like, hey, youngster, how about I tell you to stop saying N-word? Mm-hmm. So we come from that. Mm-hmm. You know, the N-word and the B-word is our favorite words. For sure. But I took on a challenge. Every time you use that, give me 5 push-ups. I'm not thinking it's nothing. Mm-hmm. But to this day, I can have me a conversation without using the N-word. Right. And I understood how vital that was when I started dealing with people outside the culture. Right? And dealing with people inside the culture that understood that word to mean something different, because I never wanted to offend nobody. So I couldn't walk around saying, cuz. I couldn't say, because it offend people. So I can't do this to people that I'm making their alertness go up, their awareness that they might feel danger when they're around me. So I had to realize I had to remove certain words from my vocabulary. And then as me progressing in prison and coming in jail, of course, we trying to get money. I'm trying to live without getting laid on the street. I'm in here getting money. And one day somebody said something about the stock market, and I just said to myself, well, I'm spending $2,300 on phones, and I done got caught with 9 phones. Why can't I ask my folks or ask my homies to do something about it? Right. You give me $2,300 and I can lose it, and you never want to return, but the moment I ask you the $2,300 for a stock, you tell me no. Right. So at that point, I realized that it wasn't actually the money, it was the idea of the people who was controlling the money. Mm-hmm. So I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to take this, and then I started getting into stock. I took me a class. Then I started dealing with a dude. The first dude I dealt with in stocks was when I seen. That's when I started believing in imaginary frames. Mm-hmm. You can look at somebody without knowing them directly, but they can still affect your life. Right. And it was a dude, my first dude was Brother Polite. That was the first dude I got into doing stuff. So I started diving into it.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And I started getting into stocks, and my life changed, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you sitting down with me. And this is one of the first things, just introducing to the people to know what's going on. But, you know, when we come back and we do another episode, we're going to touch on credit, how you can leverage your credit. We're going to tell you on what particular stock. Matter of fact, before we leave, you got any stocks that you got any plays that you just did or you doing right now that we can talk about that maybe next time we talk it might come to fruition and we can have it look up?
So I just closed out a play earlier today. Okay. Bishop VST. Okay. I got in it about last Wednesday. I made a quick. I quickly. I put $700 and made $1,500. Basically bought back 4 days, 3 days profit. You know. But one of my biggest trades recently was my MXL trade. This was like 3 weeks ago, and I put a little bit like $1,200 in, and I made $7,000.
Right.
In about 21 days.
21 days.
21 days.
So this is the kind of money. And then if you go on a slow end, Today I just bought me 3 contracts for Tesla, like $325 a piece. So I spent like $975. I put a put on it because of all the things happening in the market with Trump. So I put a put on it. I put the contract expiry for December. I just made like $250 on American Airlines. I got in at American Airlines at like $12 and change. It went to 14 some change. I would have snapped that 200. That took me a couple weeks to get that off there. Right, and the whole reason why we're bringing up these numbers is because if you're dealing with an institution, they're only giving you 1 to 8%. So when he said 700, that means 10% of that. If you left it in there for a whole year, which is less than the 8%, more than 8%, you only would have got $70. He's talking about 700 turned into 1,500. He's talking about 1,200 turned into 7,000. Those are numbers that no institution is gonna give you. You gotta believe in yourself, and sometimes we need other people to believe in. So we're gonna tell you about our trade, the profit we made, the money we made. And I want you to challenge them ideas against the institutions, the 1 to 8% that they telling you. Don't let them just loan your money out. You go ahead and apply your money in the necessary area, and you get the return you need so you and your family can see the residuals of those effects. But like I said, I'm T. Rich, man. This is my boy,
Grady, baby, man.
and I appreciate you, man. And next time we're going to follow up on a little more tips and things that we got going on, man. We appreciate y'all.
You have a good one.